There's something oddly satisfying about that sound, that click, that scroll. In a world of AI powered everything, foldable phones, streaming services that know you better than you know yourself, why in 2026 are people going back to one of these? This is an iPod Classic. It's one that I've heavily modified myself, and today we're going to be talking about modified iPod Classics, why they're making a comeback, what's changed, and why people are ditching Spotify for 20-year-old devices such as these. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan, and welcome back to yet another video. Today we're talking iPod Classics, how they're making a comeback, why you should go out and get one. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Back in the early 2000s, the iPod wasn't just a gadget, it was the gadget. Thousands of songs in your pocket, no adverts, no subscriptions, and unfortunately by the late 2010s it was a bit of an ancient relic. Or so we thought. Fast forward to today, there's something interesting happening. People are taking old iPod Classics and completely transforming them. We're talking repairing hard drives or replacing hard drives with flash storage, expanding them to 1 or even 2 terabytes of memory, swapping the standard battery for batteries that have got massive multi-day lifespans, installing custom firmware like Rockbox, even adding haptic engines, Bluetooth and USB-C charging. These aren't just repairs, we're into a world of full-on upgrades. This is turning a vintage car into a modern electric vehicle. Although I don't actually like that analogy, because I think an old vintage car is better as an old vintage car, but we'll move on past that. Anyway, this is my personal iPod Classic that I've decided to overhaul. It started life as a 7th generation 80GB model that Apple sold, and I bought a bit of a battered up one off eBay. The owner had done quite a good job of looking after it, although the front and back faces were scratched quite heavily, and it had all of the existing features on that Apple sold it with. So a 650 mAh battery, it had the spinning hard drive, but one thing I did like about this model was it was the old thick version rather than the thinner version, and I just think the thick versions like this, it's only an extra couple of millimeters, but you do notice the difference when you're holding it in your hand. Anyway, I've decided to overhaul this one, so I've replaced the 650 mAh battery with a ridiculous 3000 mAh one, and I accidentally left this playing in my bag the other day, and I was off work for a week, and I went back to it on my first day back at work, so I think it had been 9 days since I'd last touched my bag, and it was still there. The battery bar hadn't turned red, and it was still playing songs. So that gives you an idea as to how long these devices can last running on the new larger capacity batteries. I switched out the spinning hard drive for a 512GB solid state drive, and I replaced the front and back plates. Now, one of my main gripes about the back plates on the iPods, whilst they looked really aesthetically pleasing, I think black ones look a whole lot better. So I've swapped out the chrome backplate and switched it for an anodized black one, and tell me that doesn't look 10 times better than the one that Apple sold. Come on guys. Got a few of these up for sale as well, so I'm going to post the link to the eBay page that they're going to be up for sale on in the description to this video. So the question is, why do people love iPods in 2026? Why is it in this modern day and age of technology and engineering, are we reverting back to technology that was deemed out of date, which is obviously why Apple decided to discontinue the iPod model? Well, it's simple. Streaming is convenient, but you don't actually own anything. But with the modified iPod, you do. Your music library is yours forever. if an artist decides that they want to take down a song or an album off a streaming platform that you subscribe to, you don't get to listen to it anymore. But with an iPod you can. The battery life is insane nowadays. Like I said, a few moments ago, my 7th gen with the 3000 milliamp hour battery lasted well over a week playing tunes stashed in my bag with me not realising that it was even still playing anymore. There's no compression from streaming platforms, no Bluetooth lag, just clean direct audio. You listen to an iPod Classic with a decent set of in-ear monitors like my Sennheiser IE600s or a pair of Shure 535s that I own with the custom moulded earpieces. The sound quality you get from them, even in this day and age, is absolutely phenomenal, and I haven't come across anything at this price point that even comes close to matching it. Next up, and this is my favourite bit, it's that feeling of nostalgia. Because let's be honest, I kind of get a bit emotional talking about one of these. The weight, the interface, the click wheel, the way that everything just works, it just feels intentional. It's not disposable, and it is a piece of kit that I now don't leave the house without, ever. But what's really driving this sort of latest trend in people revamping older pieces of technology? Well, that is without a doubt the modding community. Never has there been such a vast means of being able to expand and improve the iPods as what there are now. There's companies out there like Boxy Pixel who do an absolutely sublime upgrade kit that is fully CNC'd machined anodized aluminium casing, and I'm hoping to get my name on the next mail order list for one of these because they look phenomenal. And I've actually got a battered old iPod at home that I'm specifically saving for when one of these kits come out, because quite frankly I cannot wait to get my hands on one of them. As you can see in the video now, they just look phenomenal. I love the gold and black and the silver and black colour schemes that they've gone for, and yeah, hoping to get my name down on the pre-order mailing list for one of these when they next announce drop in early to mid-May. So fingers crossed I get my hands on one of them, and I'll be sure to post a video about that to the channel. There's YouTube channels, there are creators sharing guides, builds and inspiration like myself. People are out there selling customised iPods with different colours, transparent shelves, engraved backplates. Modding an iPod now has gone from a small community to a full-on subculture, and it's one that I'm really happy to be a part of, and is, to be fair, something that I can only see growing. Unfortunately, there will come a time where the number of iPod Classics in circulation is going to start dropping if we haven't reached that point already, but that's why I've got a couple stockpiled myself just in case I end up having one that dies on me completely. I've got another one to back it up, and I don't need to worry about going onto eBay and panic buying another one when the prices inevitably start shooting through the roof again. Whilst I'm getting all gooey-eyed talking about iPods, there are the downsides. They're not cheap. A fully modded iPod bought off eBay can range in the sort of £400 to £500 price mark. You can do it yourself a little bit cheaper if you possess the right technical skill set. I don't even want to think about how many iPods I've wrecked being too heavy-handed and using the wrong technique to get into them, particularly the 7th generation ones that have got the metal front face. They are much harder to get into than the 5th generation ones. The 5th generation had a plastic front plate, and there was a lot more flex allowable in that plastic front plate that enabled you to get like a metal spudger in to break the clip connection. With a 7th generation or 6th or 7th generation iPod, they've got the metal front faces. They're a lot more challenging to get into, but there are plenty of guides out there on the internet that give real good descriptive ways and tutorials about how to use the correct tools to get into them, and once you've watched a few of those, it is actually quite easy. The other thing is, the other downside really is you need to manage your own music files. Now, it's not really that much of a problem. It's more of a first world problem than anything. But there's no cloud sync, there's no instant discovery. If you want to go and download a song, if you hear a song and you want to listen to it and put it on your iPod, you've got to go and download it, you've got to plug your iPod into the computer. So compared to modern technology, it does feel a little bit archaic in that fashion. But at the end of the day, it is the whole user experience. And for me, being able to listen to one of these out in the street, plugging it into a computer really is no hardship. One thing I've got to say is these are a great conversation starter when you're out. I was on a train a couple of weeks ago. I whipped out it was the first time I'd actually taken out my modded full black iPod Classic out in public. A guy came up and tapped me on the shoulder and he was just like, "Is that what I think it is?" And I was just like, "Well, yeah, it's an iPod." He was like, "Is it a genuine one?" And I was like, "Well, it's genuine in the sense that Apple originally manufactured it, yes, but it has been quite heavily customised." And we sat and we had a good 10 or 15 minute chat talking about tech, which is one of my favourite things to do. I can sit and talk to people about technology all day. It is just, yeah, I could geek out on it, and it's the reason why I started this YouTube channel. So yes, technology, getting back to the main point, is a little bit archaic, but for user experience, this cannot be beat. Essentially, the modified iPod is a bit of a rebellion against modern tech culture. It's not about an old music player, and it's more about experiencing music and technology in the future. That is the end of my ramblings for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments, would you go back to using an iPod Classic in 2026? If you would, let me know why. And don't forget to drop a like and a subscribe. Until the next time, where there'll be another tech related video and 10 to 15 minutes of me rambling on. Take care, and I'll see you then.